Peace. This is Aaron. Peace for Healers. Wanted to talk more on the soul and the spirit, and some of it's in light of things, recent events, and just what I'm getting, how I'm feeling. Um, first, first, I just want to note gifts and guides readings are still $125. That ends tomorrow. It's not going to be extended anymore. Had plenty of time to take advantage of that. So it's still available for one more day. Um, we're going to talk about the soul right now, and if you want to better connect with your soul and better understand what it is that you're here to do, look into the soul empowering hypnosis readings that I do. The Those readings allow you to basically connect with your soul and get answers that you're looking for and understanding of your purpose and understanding of just soul concepts. So DM me or email me to schedule, or if you have any questions, and I welcome any questions. Um, I'd highly recommend some of those readings because there's a lot going on right now. And the gifts and guides readings, your discernment is key in dealing with a lot of the things that come through in the news, a lot of things when you're shopping. It's going to be so important because if you don't have access to getting those answers or listening to your guides, you could get lost in the things that are to come here. And we're only on the tip of the iceberg, which regarding things to come within the United States. And some of the things coming to the United States will impact the world as well. So take a look at things favorably and make an investment in yourself and an investment in being able to make solid decisions and be able to discern because discernment is going to be key to so many things. Um, and that's it for those offerings. I do have other offerings that are still available. None of my offers have anything that you've ever seen me offer is still being offered. But those are the two things that I'm talking about today. So the I just want to speak in regards to the soul and spirit and the things that we're here to do. We all come in to this life with a soul contract and a plan that the soul lays out for us to do. The soul lays it out, but the way it works is you get dropped into this lifetime and you don't get full understanding, or most people don't get full understanding. There's a handful of people that come in knowing exactly what they're supposed to do, not very many. So you go through this life as a spirit that's in a human body, and your whole purpose is to check off all the boxes on this long list that your soul has put forth. If none of the boxes are getting checked and you're getting pretty far through your life, a lot of times what happens is the soul chooses the exit point, and the soul's like, all right, we're going to cut this. We're going to start over again. Which is why a lot of times you hear people talk about, well, I don't want to come back and do this again. Those are instances when you're going to come back and do this again because you weren't accomplishing what you were sent here to accomplish, and your soul felt that the likelihood of you accomplishing the things that you were sent here to accomplish is going to be very low. So the soul takes an exit point. Exit points also occur when you're you've accomplished what it is that your soul intended for you to accomplish, or the exit point can appear when it's going to be the most pivotal to make a difference in the things that you were working on. So with the whole concept again, there's tiers and levels to all of this. You have source. Source splits itself off into smaller sources. Each of the smaller sources splits themselves off into smaller sources, and so on and so on. How many levels of this exist? I have no idea. And at this point, if it's volunteered to me, I'm sure going to take the knowledge and the information if it ever comes to me from source or through my guides. But it's not something that I'm at this point in my journey that I'm really going to dig into and get an answer, because I don't know if right now it's meant for us to even get an answer as to how many levels of source there is. So each source is a fragment and a copy, a smaller copy of original source, and then each level going down. So these levels go down and split further and further. And I'll make a biblical reference here. The, the Bible says that God created man in his own image. Well, you have source, which repeats source, which repeats source, which repeats source. And it goes all the way down to the spirit that inhabits this meat suit. So the you are a reflection of source. So at some point on all these levels, which again we're not talking how many levels because I don't know, but at some point one of those levels, the split, instead of it being considered, and it's still source, but it's what we call the soul. And then the soul splits, and when the soul splits and takes fragments off, basically mimicking source and the different levels of source, the soul creates the spirits that I am, Aaron, the spirit that you are in your body. And each past life and each future life is connected to that soul. And and there's a really huge bug flying around here, and my cat is off on a journey to seek it, and it's a little distracting, but apologies. I don't know if you heard that fly buzz past here. It's pretty loud. Um, so your the spirit that you are is an image of your soul, but it's an image of your soul with the purpose of checking off all the boxes on your list of things to do. Part of what you're here to do may be to be the villain. Part of what you may be here to do is to be the villain for your entire life. Part of what you may be here to do is to be a villain for part of your life. The soul makes that determination, and the soul has the intent that you would follow and check off those boxes. Now, some people would question, why would I come back here again to live a difficult life? What would the purpose be in that? And ultimately, again, the soul as a whole has to check off all of these boxes. So these boxes include the good things, the things that in this human existence, the good things that we look at in life. And these boxes also include the darker things of life, the difficult things of life. They're all experiences. And the experiences done through the spirit that lies within this meat suit. So your your purpose is to check off those boxes. And I'm not saying, and I just want to be very specific here. That does not mean that anyone is here to wallow and live in a victim state. I repeat, you are not here to live and be in a victim state. You are to live as a human, but along with living as a human, you're living to grow and to look at things at a level beyond just the spirit. The more things that you can look at from a soul level, and when I say a soul level, you're looking at the the soul of individuals that you're dealing with. And I also just want to clarify, I'm not saying that you have to like anything that any asshole does. And that includes the asshole that died almost 2 weeks ago. But you can acknowledge the actions taken by the soul because that's what his soul meant for him to come here and do. And sadly, in some respects, he did his job very effectively. And favorably in some respects, the actions that occurred to him, which there's a whole lot of questionable aspects of that, but that's created a whole new thing and a whole new awareness and awakening in a lot of people that weren't aware of just things in the society we live in. But that's a whole nother video. If you want to hear my opinion of that, put it in the comments. I'm really not trying to dive head on into the the social political range, but I'm also torn as to how to proceed forward with things along those lines because if you don't know, I was a person that was deeply and heavily involved in observing things politically, observing the daily actions of those in authority within this country and watching the actions of other countries. I don't really have the time to do that like I did, and I'm still sorting out what my soul intends for me to do along that line. Because at times I think about it and I look at it and say, I'm not going to touch any of that. And then at times I look at it and say, this is something that I need to touch on. And I'm still, to be perfectly honest, vacillating on it to a degree. Because, yes, we're sent here to live a human existence. We're supposed to look at things as a spiritual level, but I mean, at a soul level. But regardless, if you live in a human existence, you have to look at the things that actually match your human existence. And You can't gaslight the atrocities that occur. And again, I'm not making this as a statement of victimhood because I'm not a victim. I find out everything that I need to know before I need to know it. I get what I need before it's needed. And am not going to stress and worry about the things that are to come under this regime. So I think I went off on a tangent here. But again, your soul had you come here with this purpose. And with that purpose, the the I went off on an absolute tangent. A lot, what I was saying is a lot of people look at it and say, "Why would I come here and choose to do this?" And again, you have to look at things from a bigger level because the decisions being made are being made at a bigger level. We look at a lifetime and say the average lifetime today is what, 70 to 90 years for most people, and it may increase as people start to eat better, live better, and walk better. But when you compare that to infinite time, when you compare it to a realm where time doesn't exist, 1,000 years is like that. So when a person says that, they're looking at it from the perspective of why would I go into this for 20 years or however long the struggles may be, and that time period is nothing to your soul. And then there's others that would say, why would I put myself in this horrible position? Again, you have to look at it bigger than what you look at. But just a simple form of this, virtual reality games. Video games and virtual reality games. We're going to look at both. In a virtual reality game or video game, and I'm speaking of both at the same time, but I'm speaking of both in the sense of what you're doing. In those games, you can get dropped down into the middle of World War II. You can get dropped down into the middle of a horror zone. You can get dropped down into the middle of a future war. You can get dropped into the middle of a galactic war. There's so many things that, as the soul that's choosing to play a game does, you being the person in the meat suit, the spirit in the meat suit, you're the soul that's choosing. I'm going to pull this game down off the shelf and I'm going to play this game. So you're choosing when you're playing a video game to drop yourself into some of the most horrid environments to play a game. And it's to play a game to win and achieve in that game. So just like a person would choose to play a specific video game, your soul is making a choice and pulling down. I mean, the soul's pulling down a whole bunch of games that make up that checklist, and your soul is saying, okay, in the blink of the eye, this is all going to be done. It's going to feel like a long time to the spirit, but it's moments for me. You can't look at things from the human perspective, and you can't look at things from the human perspective because you are so much more than you can imagine. You just have to understand it, you just have to accept it, and you just have to love it. Because once you can reach that point, the love grows for yourself, the love grows for others, the success grows, the universe does more on your behalf, and life gets so much better. And I'm not going to sit here and say life is going to be perfect, but life will be better. It's up to you to make the decision on how you want to go, how you want to proceed, and how you want to play this game. I love you. Make sure you love yourself more. If you made it through to the end of the video, put in a purple heart emoji so that I know you got through to the end. And remember, I love you. Make sure you love yourself more. And make sure you love your soul more. And talk to your soul. Listen to your soul. Peace.